So, if you ask me was Heart of Thorns good or bad, well, let me tell you, it was brilliant. We've managed to secure Glint's egg, we lose some allies, but we regain lost ones. If you want to know more, stick around to find out. In the previous episode, while we were focused on eliminating the Shadow of the Dragon, Caithe ran from us with Glint's egg. Thorn, Ear, Logan and Zoja then launched an airship attack on the Django Dragon, but the airship fleet was completely destroyed by Mordremoth's counterattack. We start the Heart of Thorns Story, with Grand Warmaster Larentil requesting us to go to their aid and save what's left from the Pact. Upon our arrival, a video tactician informed me that Mordred had been attacking a fort in the Silver Wastes, in an attempt to cut off the troops' only route out of the Heart of Maguuma. Along with a handful of soldiers, we made our way to aid the Pact commander of the fort. On our way there, we met up with Bram, Rox, Kashmir and Marjorie, as well as Taimi and Connacht, who were all bound for the Django themselves. Connacht informed me that the Countess Anise had sent him as a representative of the Shining Blade. After pushing back the Mordrum at Umbra Sandfall, me and my allies entered the heart of the Maguuma jungle. Our reunited group travelled beyond the Silver Wastes, where we witnessed the gravity of the Pact fleet's destruction firsthand. Bram spotted an encampment further down the ledge and rushed towards it, anxious to learn about his mother's fate. In the camp, I found Larentil at odds with the rest of the Pact survivors, who distrusted their Sylvari comrades. Larentil explained that both Destiny's Edge and Marshal Treherne had survived the crash, but were taken prisoners by the Mordrum and moved further into the jungle. A Dermont Prairie scholar, openly hostile towards Larentil and the other Sylvari, suggested fortifying their current position by scavenging turrets from the wreckage. On the other hand, Larentil insisted on rescuing potential survivors from the Mordrum to bolster our troops. I was asked to make a decision on behalf of the survivors here. I chose to follow Larentil's suggestion to save the missing Pact soldiers, so we descended into the chasm below, accompanied by him and a Vigil soldier named Gat. Gat mentioned that the Mordrum had been collecting prisoners and corpses for some unknown for now purpose. Following the trail, we stumbled upon Mordrum pods holding Sylvari members captive. After defeating the guards and destroying the pods, we learned that other prisoners were ordered to be taken south to join Mordremoth's ranks. Returning to the camp, we were attacked by waves of Mordrum as dawn approached, and in the heat of the battle, Rytlock Brimstone suddenly appeared back from the mists, blindfolded and wielding a new form of magic. He helped us dispense the enemy attack, but offered no explanation for his presence or his newfound powers. Larentil then requested permission to stay in Verdant Brink together with the Sylvari, keeping them separate from the rest of the Pact. I agreed to his request and left to speak with Pact scouts and gather more intel on this dangerous new environment. I began training in gliding to keep safe and help navigate the area, and eventually reached the center of Verdant Brink, where a large Pact encampment had been set up. The soldiers there reported their sightings of Caithe, who was heading west with Glint's egg in tow. To help break through the Mordrum lines, the soldiers recommended for us to talk with the local Hylic tribe called the Itzel. Heading towards the village of Jaka Itzel, me and my allies came across a skirmish between Mordrum and them. We defeated the Mordrum and met a pair of Hylic named Ibli and Tzidlak. Ibli expressed his thanks and offered to take us to their chieftain and his mother. To earn the Hylic's trust, I had to help either Ibli to defend the village from a Mordrum force, or attack their war camp directly with Tzidlak. I decided to aid the village and defend it. In the attack, we encountered a Mordrum Guard champion and had to defeat it. With the Hylic safe for now, the village leader promised her alliance with the Pact and ordered her scouts to help her party find her missing companions. With the scouts' directions, I found my way to the outskirts of the Mordrum prison camp. With his newfound powers, Rytlock sensed that someone of Destiny's Edge had been held inside. We broke in with force, defeating Mordrum and rescuing members of the Pact along the way. We eventually found a Mordrum prison cell containing an unlikely pair, Ear Stegoskin and Grand Duchess Fowlen of the Nightmare Court. We broke the prison cell, but a Mordrum Vinetooth approached the recently released pair. Fowlen slipped and fell during the escape, prompting Ear to help her up, but noticing the approaching Vinetooth, returned the aid by stabbing her and fleeing for her own life. Her flight would be short-lived though, as Ear threw the thorn at Fowlen and left her to be entangled by Mordrum vines. However, Ear's injuries left her helpless to the Vinetooth, and she was too impaled and cast aside to Bram's despairing cries. Me and the rest of the squad rushed to Ear's side and killed the Vinetooth, but the Norn hero had already passed on. Broken with grief, Bram requested that I give him time to pay his respects and dispose of his mother's body with dignity. Garm, Ear's wolf companion, was also nowhere to be found. Rox elected to stay by Bram's side, worried about her friend and how he might take this loss. Pushing onward into the Maguuma, we found ourselves in a lush, beautiful forest. Encountering a camp of Pact survivors, scouts reported that Caithe had been seen further east. Along the way, we saw a strange glowing figure watching us from a distance. We reached a large golden structure, a pylon emitting strange energies. Members of the Dormont Priory had set up a camp, but had left themselves vulnerable to an attack. After the Mordrum assault force was defeated, the glowing figure appeared before us. It called itself Ruka and asked of our purpose in Maguuma. He revealed that he had been tracking energy sources similar to Glint's energy further east. Eventually, we managed to find Caithe. She was sprawled on the ground with Glint's egg lying nearby. She was facing a bizarre monster similar to the Mordrum Vinetooth, but with Fowlen's face and voice now proclaiming her servitude to Mordremoth. I managed to recover the egg and was infused with part of its energy. With guidance from Ruka, I used these new abilities to escape Fowlen. I've heard there's a refuge built by Ruka's people, the Exalted, whose sole purpose is to protect the egg. I've decided it's worth checking the place out, as these structures reminded me too strongly of my previous visions. At the center of the region, we found ourselves in a massive city constructed of gold. At its entrance, the Exalted Luminate welcomed us to Tarir, the Forgotten City, and explained about their race charged by the Forgotten to protect Glint's legacy. The Exalted brought me to Tarir's depths, where I underwent a series of trials to ensure my capabilities in fighting the Elder Dragons. I fought illusions of dragon minions, navigated a maze to find magical glyphs, and led Pact soldiers against Mordrum while in a helpless rabbit form. While in there, the egg sent me a prophetic vision which showed me Mordremoth using Traarn, Logan and Zolja as templates for a batch of new improved Mordrum, which the dragon intended to unleash on Tyria. With the egg safely under watch by the Exalted, I left the city to continue the offense against Mordremoth. With the aid of Taimi and some holographic recordings, we caught up to our allies in the southwest of the region. Taimi was investigating a ruin with strange devices bearing a blend of Exalted and Asuran technology. Repowering the device, I revealed a map of leyline energies, showing their flows and concentrations throughout the Maguuma jungle. One hub of leyline energy, however, was unknown. The Exalted explained that the hub was Ratanovus, an Asuran city which had stood with them against the Elder Dragons in the past. Taimi was elated to hear of the lost Rata and asked that I travel there and uncover their research for possible help for the upcoming battle with Mordremoth. Rox and Bram also returned. Bram had shaven his head and displayed a vengeful eagerness to kill Fowling, blaming her for Ear's death. I decided to turn the team in the direction of Ratanovus, upon learning the lost Asuran city may have resources we could use against Mordremoth. On our way, we crossed paths with some packed soldiers who had been held captive together with Zoja and Logan. They explained that their captured friends had sacrificed their freedom to create a distraction while the soldiers got away. Unfortunately, some of the packed group had gone missing when a murderous creature chased them into the nearby caves. Bram and I put down the beast, but could not save the soldiers. One of them, fortunately, lived long enough to relay in which direction the murderer took Zoja and Logan. I made the cow to split our team here. Half of the team will track the murderer, while Bram, Connacht, Caithe and I head to Ratonovus, hopefully towards allies or inside that would help us kill the dragon. Reuniting with Rytlock at the Hylic settlement of Teku Nuhoch, the Nuhoch warrior helped us fashion a solvent to break through the Chak's acid, based off enzymes taken from their bodies. With this new tool, I bypassed the Chak and the dormant Asura defenses to finally reach Ratonovus. The Asuran city was deadly quiet, confirming Caithe's fear that her fellow had not survived due to the Chak attacks. Nevertheless, our party pushed into the city to find anything that could help us fight Mordremoth. While progressing, Caithe expressed her frustration that her allies treated her more of a child to be protected, rather than a fellow fighter and part of the team. She also proved her maturity tenfold, first by saving Bram from a falling pillar, and then using Scruffy to repower a blast door which left her golem disabled. I reassured her that she was integral to our success. After fighting our way through the Chak infestation, we found what we were looking for, a secret laboratory filled with Ratonovus research on the Elder Dragons. The research confirmed that each Elder Dragon would possess some unique weakness, a fact that I found comforting but Bram considered a waste of time to uncover. However, the data provided no further information on Mordremoth's specific weakness. Caithe decided to stay behind as she would be unable to actively fight without Scruffy, although she was still excited at the prospect of uncovering more of the Lost Rata's mysteries. I had to catch up with the others who went after Zoja, Logan and Traarn, and let them know what we discovered in Ratonovus. Thankfully, Rox left the trail I requested, which allowed me to locate them. Bram, Connacht and I caught up with the rest of the team and forged deep into the jungle dragon's stronghold as we tracked Zoja and Logan's trail. Deep behind enemy lines, we eventually found them being hooked up to Mordremoth blighting pods. Fighting our way to our friends, we were forced to behold what the pods were doing, creating Mordremoth copies of the heroes, twisted clones who thought only of serving Mordremoth. Both members of Destiny's Edge were freed, but their ordeal in the pods had left them greatly weakened and nearly dead, so I sent them to safety with Kashmir and Rox. The Vine-Toothed Fowlin then reappeared, mocking us for choosing to be free of the Elder Dragon. We chased Fowlin into the Heart of Thorns, Mordremoth's inner sanctum. Caithe showed up, and despite my initial misgivings, she fought alongside us as we pursued Fowlin on the way to where Traarn was being held. We ascended the Heart of Thorns and finally glimpsed Traarn, unconscious and bound to Mordremoth before he was swept into the undergrowth's depths. Fowlin intercepted the party and had to be slain in the process. Bram relished that he had taken down his mother's murderer, while Caithe mourned the loss of her one-time friend and love. While the Pact forces and their allies launched their final assault on the mouth of Mordremoth, me and my allies cleared out the Heart of Thorns and prepared to follow Traarn into the depths. Making our way deeper into the tangle, we found him fused to the vines and barely conscious. He suggested utilizing his link to the dragon to enter the Dream of Dreams, allowing us to strike directly at Mordremoth's very mind. We agreed that 2 allies would accompany me, choosing Caithe and Connacht, while the rest of the team stayed behind to hold off the Mordremoth attackers. Inside the dragon's mind, we were confronted with their fears, a corrupted pale tree fully under Mordremoth's throw, or a blighted Connacht goading the original to submit to Mordremoth. During these fights, reality rifts appeared, allowing me to take control of the mindscape by breaking Mordremoth's illusions. After saving both of our companions, we finally faced the avatar of Mordremoth. In the course of the fight, the Elder Dragon tried to break my will by summoning similar illusions of Rytlock, Marjorie and her old mentor, turning these illusions back on their creator through use of reality rifts. We eventually defeated Mordremoth's mind. Back outside of the hellish mindscape, Traherne had one final request for me, to use the broken remains of his sword Caladborg to slay him, together with the last remnants of the Elder Dragon residing within him. As he made his sacrifice, a massive amount of Mordremoth's dragon magic exploded into the ley lines and across Styria. Back north in Terrair, 1/4 of the magic from the ley lines streaked towards Glint's egg, imbuing it with unknown influences before continuing northward. And with this, despite the terrible costs, Mordremoth had finally been slain. Would there be further consequences to come? We have to find out in the next episode. I wanna say a huge thank you to everyone who's supporting the channel in any way, shape or form. And if you want to check out the previous episode, there's going to be a link on screen right now. Also, if you don't want to miss the next episode, or you are interested in some gaming facts, make sure you subscribe. Thank you once more, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, be wise. Very wise.